thank Mateo, first of all, for inviting me here tonight. I've known Mateo now since about 3 years. He cooperates with an Italian law firm which works with FAC Group. Just a brief insight about FAC Group. It was founded in 1965 in Bologna, Italy. And let's say it kind of invented Mr. Manini, who was the founder of this company, the use of hydraulic technology in residential gate operators, okay? FAC Group today is a group of about 1,600 employees worldwide. We have about 45 subsidiaries. Most of these are outside of the US. And we have a revenue of about $400 million. We're a little different probably from the, let's say these the companies over here that we are an actual industrial, we are a manufacturing group, okay? So we are quite heavy on the manufacturing end. Our product lines are basically tied into the world of pedestrian and vehicular access control. Initially, as I mentioned, we started into gate operators, and probably the Italian group here knows FAC or FAC quite well from advertisement through the year, even on Italian television, probably in the 70s and 80s, and it kind of dominates. It's one of the leaders in the Italian market and in the European market. Recently, we felt a need, this in the past 5 to 6 years, to grow a bit out of our core business, which, as I said, is gate operators for mostly residential type of applications, to get a little bit more into the commercial and industrial sector, and also to grow a bit outside of Italy and outside of Europe. We had subsidiaries, but we wanted to expand into the US market and also into emerging markets. Emerging market means South America, Middle East, Far East. So some of the acquisitions have been in those two directions there. Recently in the US, we have acquired 3 different companies. One is a US-based company in San Leandro, just across the bay here, and the other 2 are European-based companies with US interest. One is a Swiss company called Ziag in Minneapolis, and the other is Magnetic, which is a German company, and it has a US subsidiary in Rockledge, Florida. Our recent acquisitions have been into the sector of revenue parking. So I think all of you, not on a daily basis, but probably every month, either go through airports or park in parking lots and hotels, and where you go in, you take your ticket, the barrier gate lets you in the parking lot, and then you let's say you pay on the exit. So we've invested heavily also in this revenue parking sector. When we come to the U.S. market, FAC has been present in this market for 24 years with a small U.S. subsidiary, which only say handled and was in the market of gate operators. We wanted to get a little bit more involved in this market, in the U.S. market, for several different reasons. Obviously, it is the largest economy in the world and the largest market in the world. The business climate, and I think the Italians who are in here can relate to this. In general, the business climate in the U.S. is fairly easy. It's easy to do business here, and whereas in Italy and other European countries, there are, let's say, there's a lot of bureaucracy, there's a lot more obstacles, a lot more cumbersome to do business, whereas the U.S. is a business-friendly market. We felt that the economy also was going to pick up in the U.S., because all of our acquisitions have been in the past 2 to 3 years here in the U.S. market. And there is a growing demand. We identified, we're basically specialized in vehicular and pedestrian access control, and we felt as a group that there will be a growing demand for revenue parking. We're getting more and more crowded in the world. Municipalities are always looking for different, or states, municipalities are looking for different forms of revenue, so we felt we invested heavily in revenue parking because we felt that it was going to be a growing demand, and that is being confirmed. We've been in this market only about 2 to 3 years, and we're quite happy with our initial returns in this market. Some of the challenges of being, say, in the U.S. For us, obviously, is it is a very large territory. So, let's say, the United States, as a European company, you tend to look at Europe, and you go from one country to the next country. It's 200, 300, 400 miles, 500, 600 kilometers. So everything is quite close. In the U.S., there are many challenges from a dimensional point of view, a size point of view, organizational point of view, and also the communication. For us, we are an Italian-based company, European-based company. The communication oftentimes between the U.S. and Europe is somewhat difficult and cumbersome. So that's. But in general, as a group, let's say we are specialized, in vehicular and pedestrian access control. We wanted to get a little bit more away from our core business, which is residential. Everybody knows what has been going on in the residential markets in the past 5 to 6 years. They are picking up now, but this is the reason, let's say, for us investing a little bit away from, let's say, from our core business, and also heavily in the U.S. market. Today we are 4 companies in the U.S. Up to 3 years ago, it was just 1 company, and only like 20 employees. So we're quite happy to be here, quite happy to be also in the Bay Area. This is our most recent acquisition, just a little over a year ago. And myself personally just moved over here on Sunday. So I'm quite new to the Bay. Been here many, many times as a visitor on business and on tourism, but moving here now for a few years, and definitely like this, what we see here, and the opportunity to be here. I'm sure it'll be a very very fulfilling experience.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So if I can just ask you one quick question.
Sure.
So just to wrap it up, so would you say that your group's expansion to the U.S. is somewhat dictated by the need to go beyond essentially the domestic and European markets?
Yes.
And
yes,
focus
yes,
on.
Yes. Yes.
Is this something that's common in your experience with other Italian companies? You are in the industry, so you know pretty much what also maybe some of your competitors are doing and what others.
Yes, our competitors are, let's say, if we look at the gate market, the gate operator market, the largest companies in the world are Italian companies. Names like, besides FAC, maybe ChemA, BFT, or Nice, and one of them has made some investments in the U.S. The other 2 have not really. One of them, I would not be surprised that actually the opposite role happens, is that they are acquired by a U.S. company. But if we go back a few years ago, even just 4 or 5 years ago, FAC's revenues were about 40% in Italy. Today it's 20%. So all of our investments have been
to diversify out.
Exactly. Both in different industrial segments and also in different geographies. We were not very present in the U.S. We have a new CEO in our group since about 6 years, who Matteo has also met a few times, and we've done our investments based on geography and also on industrial segments. And the U.S. was definitely one of those markets where we wanted to invest in heavily, and we will continue to do so also. There's some other possible things in the pipeline.